Hey Tony, what's up, man?
What's up, my brother? How you feeling?
Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm all right. And you? You see that?
I'm doing good, man.
You
Thanks for
doing good?
joining me for the interview, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me, my brother. Long time no see.
Absolutely, man. Just want to introduce myself real quick to your followers who are watching. I'm Tom. I'm the founder of I Got Soul, one of the top R&B sites, and I've been a huge Tony Sunshine supporter for many years now. Always love what he's done since the beginning. I've been following. I've been a fan since the '90s, so I've been following this whole journey, and always just support what he does. So we're just gonna do this interview. If we have time at the end, we'll take some questions from any fans who want to ask anything, and we'll go from there.
Definitely. Hopefully,
Cool,
the supporters we'll get more supporters to join in.
Yeah, well, cool. So first, Tony, man, I gotta say, and this is coming from a place of love and admiration, but I can't believe it's 2020 and I'm still waiting on your debut album, man. I've been waiting a long time. What is going on?
I was just talking to the folks about that the other day, and I was explaining to them that I'm somewhat of a music hoarder. Like I sit on a lot of my music, and I'm my toughest critic. At times I can be, and then it comes to where I have some pretty huge records that I feel like we don't have the platform for. I feel like we would be throwing these records away if I actually just jumped out the window and threw them out without promo, without the right platforms for them. So we sitting on some pretty huge records, and what I've been giving the fans and what I've been throwing out is just to let them know, hey, I'm still here and I can still hang with some of these young guys. That's about it. But we have some huge records that we sitting on.
It's a weird time in the music industry, though, man. Like, a lot of artists aren't even doing albums anymore just because people's attention spans are so short, and they just give them small samples like you've been doing it. You think you still want to even do an album at this point?
I think my fans and my supporters deserve an album. The people that have been waiting a very long time deserve an album. And like I said, I'm a music hoarder, but my whole thing about it is that for those fans that have been waiting this long for a debut solo Tony Sunshine album, for me to put out mediocre work would be like a spit in the face. You know what I mean? So I have to get real meticulous, and I have to make sure that I'm giving you the right sound, the right music. And at the same time, I don't want it to sound like I'm trying. Because Tony Sunshine don't try. You know what I'm saying? I'm an originator. I've been doing it for too long to be trying to fit in, to be trying to meet, to meet the expectations of what the fans think the Jones might be when it comes to music.
Right. Well, I'm definitely still waiting on that album, man. So, I'll be ready when it gets here.
It's coming.
Let me ask you this. You've given us a lot of different styles over the years, from different singing styles to rapping and all that. Like, what do you consider to be your true style?
We all know that my best work, my best quality, my best body of work comes when I utilize my singing voice. That's my best quality. And I'd be lying if I told you it's not what I love to do most. Like, my heart is in making pop music. My heart is in making R&B music and making music that you can actually hear the potential, where I have to utilize my vocal ability to its full potential. Unfortunately, my fan base comes from me being Tony Sunshine of the Terror Squad, me being Tony Sunshine of the rap group. So when I give them real records, when I give them R&B records, they don't know how to receive it. They want to shoot them up, bang, bang, gangster Tony Sunshine. You understand? So we have the She's Like the Wind fan base. Which I love dearly because that's what I love to do. I love to sing. And then we have the TONY Desert Eagle fan base. So I'm right there. So I'm trying to figure out how to make both happy at the same time.
Gotcha. We love your R&B records. We're an R&B site. Shout out to your manager. Your manager, Los the Prez. He's always sending us your new music or letting us premiere some of it. We really appreciate him for that.
Los is a problem with that music, right? He'll send it to you over and over again. Get it, but we gotta love him for that.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Los the Prez.
I want to take it back a little bit because I was thinking about your career. Like, you got on at such a young age with Terror Squad and sang on some of those records in the late '90s. how did you even develop your talents as a singer? Like, where did all that come from?
You know, I've said this story many a times. I don't want to tell a generic story, but we gonna keep it quick and to the punch.
Yeah.
I started singing when I was 5 years old. My mother discovered that I could sing when I was 5 years old. From there, I started singing Spanish songs called boleros, right? Before I started singing salsa. Singing boleros, during the process, I got introduced to a man by the name of Rafi Sabatel, who had a salsa group, Rafi Sabatel y su charanga, who was Johnny Sabatel's brother, who composed and wrote for anybody and everybody in the game in the salsa community, from Willie Colon to you know, you name it.
Right.
Anyway, those guys took a liking to my talent and started inviting me to the 116th 4th of July festivals back in the mid 80s, going into the early 90s. Of course, I was like 8, 9 to 10 years old. And at that age, I got to sing in the festivals, which consist of Celia Cruz, Tito Puente, Eddie Santiago, those type of people. If you guys are not familiar with the salsa community, then do your research. Those were some pretty big people. And at that age, I got to touch the stage and sing with them. You know what I mean? Let's fast forward. I moved into Forest Projects. Forest Projects, that's where Joe comes from. That's where I met Fat Joe and all the guys at a young age. I moved to Forest Projects when I was 12, going on 13. At 13 years old, I introduced myself to Fat Joe. I sang for Forever My Lady by Jodeci to him. He thought that my talent was impeccable. He thought I was dope. The next day, him and God Bless the Dead, Full Flex, my big brother, came to pick me up in the black MPV. I jumped in the MPV with them. And from there on, you know, I went to Relativity Records. Before, when Relativity was when Loud Records was actually Relativity, and then Steve Rifkin turned it into Loud. I believe I might be giving you false info, but during that process, just the environment I was in and all the things that I was enduring as a child, listening to the music that I was listening to, combined with my vocal ability, I guess it came natural, to create the gangster persona, the gangster R&B persona I had. You know, plus I was surrounded by actual gangsters. I was surrounded by actual rappers, and I was surrounded by actual people that, you know, made me feel like I was untouchable, so to speak. So that persona, that guy, that type of music came easy. You know what I mean? Some say I was ahead of my time. Some argue that there was some before me. You know, who knows? You know what I mean?
You know, that's a it's wild because you never really hear a lot of R&B coming out of the Bronx, and it's just the way it is. You know, your sound is so unique, and now I understand why you've got that different background. It's not just a straight traditional R&B background. It wasn't like you had formal training in that genre.
Never. And you know, it just came natural. These joints. At the end of the day, also, I want to make it clear that some of those records, like you know, Joe and them will argue that I didn't want to make R&B records. And I'll argue that these are the type of records they wanted me to make. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, also for the Pun album, I wanted to make an R&B record. Pun was like, we need a solo Tony Sunshine record for my album because I'm going to introduce you to the world. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm thinking about all these types of topics and songs I want to talk about and things I want to talk about. And Pun is like, nah, I got an idea. Make a song about your dick. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, make a song about how niggas be on your dick. And I'm like, but I want to, bro, listen to me. Make a song of how motherfuckers be on your dick. Trust me, they're going to love it. That's cool. So I got into my head, I got into my pen game, and I wrote My Dick, of course, which is on Pun's album, which became a classic. He was right. He's right, by the way. Did the song My Dick. I leave the studio. I come back to the studio a few days later only to hear Pun's verse. And I'm like, yo, I want to hear Pun's verse. I want to hear Pun's verse. And they like, I hear Pun's verse, only to hear Pun dissing me on the verse.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't think anybody ever noticed. That's the type of shit Pun did. He was like real competitive and subliminal. And even if it was, you know, it's just music. So I did the song, My Dick. And when I listened to his verse, he goes, "You's a nasty fuck." Making a song talking about your nuts. Don't want nobody on my dick. And I'm looking at him like, but you told me to do this record. You told me to write this song.
That's wild, man.
But nonetheless, it's a dope story. He was right. I never dreamed that I would touch a stage like a stadium, or I would be in a club somewhere performing for 3,000 to 5,000 people, and they would all be singing a song about my dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, yo, incredible.
That's so wild, man. I mean, on the other side of the spectrum, though, you mentioned singing Jodeci's Forever My Lady. I remember when you did All I Need on the Fat Joe album, and you threw the New Edition part in there from Can You Stand the Rain?
Yeah, that was actually Dre from Cool and Dre's idea.
Oh, yeah?
Like putting that part in there. That whole concept, the whole idea came from Dre. Shout out to Dre from Cool and Dre, one of my teachers, one of my brothers, you know, definitely one of my mentors when it comes to this music shit. That was his idea. That was his idea to throw that New Edition, that part right there.
I will say, though, what that proved to me was, because that's not an easy song to cover, and you made it look easy. You know, it didn't sound like karaoke or nothing like that. You know, you showed us you were a true vocalist at that moment.
No, see, I like to make sure, like when a lot of people don't understand that singing R&B, like singing period, is not an easy task.
Right.
Especially when you're trying to show and prove. My whole thing is not trying to show and prove. So when I agree to record a written record, or I decide that I'm going to write my own shit, I make sure that I can hit every note that's on that song. I don't want to hit a certain note in that record that's just going to be good for the studio. I want to be, because chances are that your fan base is just going to go to your concert or buy your song or listen to your music just to hit that particular note. So now they're going to your concert, they're supporting your shows, they're coming there to hear you hit that particular note. Why cheat them? Why cheat them with a riff that doesn't belong there? So I like to sing songs that I actually can kill on stage. If not exactly the same, even better than it sounds on wax. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. I mean, just like that example, you've given us such moments. It's crazy to me because I mentioned, you know, how you haven't had an album out, and it's been over 20 years, and we're still here talking. I'm still here celebrating you because you've given us such moments over the years. Songs we can still celebrate. I just think that's so magical. People still celebrate you as an artist.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. All the support in the world is always appreciated. This is what I love to do. I'm not gonna say it comes easy, but it doesn't come easy, but it's easy to adapt when you love what you do.
Right.
You understand? There's artists out there that can't collab, that won't be able to collab on their own without, let's just say, a ghostwriter, or let's just say someone pointing into the right direction the entire time they're in the studio. I'd like to think that I'm one of the very few artists that came in the late 90s and is still here. That you could put me in the studio with whoever you want. Little Baby, The Baby, Drake, Lil Sean, Big Sean. You put me in the studio with anybody you want, and we gonna get it rocking. We gonna make a hit. We gonna make a smash. I'm gonna be able to sound like one of them young boys because I love what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But let me ask you this. You know, we just recently reached, unfortunately, 20 years since Pun has been gone. When you think back to him, what is the most important thing you're taking with you as you move forward in your career that you learned from him?
From Pun? Not to take yourself so serious. you know, be humble with yourself and be willing to let your guard down in your music when it comes to your music, because people love what's real. If they can feel you, if they can relate to your story, then they're gonna want to fuck with you.
Right. Right.
Everyday people, real people that are going through everyday things, that are dealing with adversities, that are in dark places, that as well as good places, can detect when you are not authentic. At least where I come from, at least the type of music I make, when I listen to other artists, when I listen to other musicians, I can tell when it's coming from the heart, or I can tell when it was a good record that was given to them. It's good lyrics. These are good lyrics. It's good. These are good bars. You sound good saying that, but I actually live that. So when I give you my music, I want it to come from my heart. You know what I mean? And I think that's the difference between me and some. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I'm not afraid to let my guard down. I'm not afraid to give you the real me. Nobody has to whisper in your ear about me or tell you no bullshit. All you got to do is come ask me, and I'm going to slap it on the table, and I'm going to keep it real with you myself. If anybody listens to my music over and over again and goes back into history, they're going to say, this guy's been keeping it real with us since day one. He's been speaking about his life and giving us bits and pieces of who he is the entire time. He's never lied to us. So when somebody gives you a bit of information and they think that they're telling you something brand new about me, the average Tony Sunshine fan is going to look at you and be like, you sound stupid, bro. Let me take you over here. Listen to this. That's nothing new. It's been out there.
Right. All right.
So
Let me
that's
ask
the difference between me, and that's what Pun taught me. That's what I take with me. Be real and be authentic with your music. Don't be afraid to let your guard down and give people the real you.
Man, we definitely miss Pun, man. So thankful that not only he gave us his talents for as long as he did, but he gave us, you know, he introduced us to you, and you're still here doing it today. We're so thankful for that.
I'm thankful for you, brother.
Yeah. Let me take it back one more time, man, because I love to celebrate. I love to look at the past, and then we'll take it back forward. But man, I just remember when Oh My God came out, you know, the single. I really thought that was gonna be your moment. That was like the song of the summer that year.
I don't know. I don't understand what happened either, my brother. That Oh My God was such a big record. Shout out to Cool and Dre. They produced the record. Dre penned the record. Diddy jumped on the record.
Yes.
I believe that Diddy would call Joe all the time, like, yo, what's up with that Oh My God record? Yo, Joe, what's up with the video? Like, even Diddy was like, what's up with the video? What's up with the record? I really don't have no type of information or intel on how we dropped the ball on that record. What I can tell you is this, that particular record, Oh My God, right there, that shit fed my family for like 9 years. Wow. I swear to God. Let me tell you something. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh My God, TONY, and Desert Eagle. For some reason, I can be singing, listen, I can be singing She's Like the Wind. I can be singing whatever song I think is the most popular song I have. And there'll be like 10 gangsters and 200 females in the crowd. Desert Eagle!
That's so crazy.
And as much as I try to stay away from that tough guy, Tony Sunshine stigma, somebody in the crowd is like, fuck that song. Sing Desert Eagle.
That's so wild.
My dick, nigga. Fuck that. And I'm like, yo, this is insane. All right, Los, drop Desert Eagle, I guess.
Yeah. But now it makes sense of why you have the styles you do and how you have to cater to the different audiences for your newer stuff.
There you go. Plus again, like, not to toot my own whistle or blow smoke up my own ass, but when I was making that type of music 15 years ago, I remember people telling me, don't rap.
Yeah.
R&B singers don't do that. Don't walk that way. Pull your pants up. The do-rags, the 2 Chainz, the six brings, the R&B niggas don't do that, right? And I would say, yo, but Lauryn Hill, Missy Elliott,
Wow.
there's no guys doing it. Why not? Nah, it's never gonna work. Chill. Don't do that. Don't. Fast forward 15 years later is the wave.
Right.
So, you know, if you pay attention to Joe once or twice, Joe's been on a few interviews where he actually pats me on the back and says that for me. Like, Tone Sunshine was just ahead of his time. He was just ahead of his wave. There were no R&B singers wearing bulletproof vests. There were no R&B singers popping up in shows with 500 dudes. There were, you know, it's just real shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was none. There wasn't heard of.
I almost feel like that was held against you at times because it was like no one ever seen anything like this. A Latino R&B singer, we didn't have that in the industry, you know. And then I almost feel like people didn't know how to treat that. And then, you know,
not only that, they say I'm almost too black for the Latino community and too Latino for the hip hop community.
Oh, wow! I don't know what to say about that.
You know, so I say to myself, I speak to some of my guys and I say, yo, let's get some Spanish records popping.
Yeah.
Let's get some Spanish writers because I speak fluent Spanish and I'll kick the fuck. I'll smash a Spanish record.
Yeah.
They know it, we know it, right? And I'm told that the Latino community won't receive me well because of my legacy and my longevity in the hip hop community. I'm too black for it.
Right.
They'll say that I'm a failure in the hip hop community and I'm being a culture vulture over here. And I'm saying how? I'm saying how? If one of my most famous records that brought me into the game was 100%, where I actually praised the Latino community and ushered it into the hip hop community.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made it cool to be Latino in the club. I made it cool to be a Spanish nigga in the club posted up with your chains. Me and Pun did that for you. I made it cool for the reggaeton community to come to New York City and be fly in the club.
Right.
I love you. Let me hug you. Hug me back. Love me back. You know what I'm saying? Pat me on. Yo, T. Yo, thank you, my brother. We appreciate you. Nah, I'm too black for the Latino community.
Oh man,
that's what I heard.
I don't even know what to say to follow with that. Jeez, that's wild.
I love both, man. I love both. A lot of people don't know that my roots. I actually started off singing in Spanish, bolero, salsa. You know, Willie Colon records, Eddie Santiago records, Ismael Miranda records. I started off singing those type of records.
Wow.
You know, so in all reality, those are my roots. That's where I come from. It's just that somewhere along the line, I fell in love with R&B music. I fell in love with soul music. My mom was cleaning out the closet one day on a Sunday. She was about to throw out this milk crate that had a bunch of 8-tracks in it. I must have been like 6 or 7 years old, 8 years old. She was cleaning out the closet. She was about to throw out the milk crate with the 8-tracks and shit like that. And I begged her if I could keep them. At the time, I guess 8-track players and all that was going out the window and they didn't really exist anymore. And the 8-tracks weren't a value anymore. But I begged her to keep them. And I believe I went to a Salvation Army, and I found myself an 8-track player. But they told me that it didn't. They told me that it didn't work. But you know, when you were a little boy back then, we didn't have video games. We didn't have too many things to play with. What did we do? We were curious. You know, we would open our little radios up, or we would open our little Ataris up or something to figure out what was inside. So I took the 8-track player home. And I fucked with it, and I made it work, and I popped in the 8-track, boop, and it was Lionel Richie.
Lionel Richie, wow.
You know, and then I popped in another 8-track, and it was Smokey Robinson, and I popped in another one and it was Patti LaBelle, and I popped in another one and it was, you know, and so forth and so forth. And I was like, holy shit, what is this? And I would spend countless hours under my bed or with the sheets on me just listening to these records, and I would mimic each and every one of them. I would mimic Kenny Rogers, and I would mimic, you know, Forget About It.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's where it came from. It was so easy for me to not to bring his name up. I know he's dealing with his own demons, and he's going through his shit. In no shape, form, or fashion am I condoning anything he's involved in. It's just hard to erase his legacy and his sound. It was so easy to fall in love with R. Kelly's sound.
Yeah.
Because I was so familiar with it. You know, a lot of people, and he was a genius. I thought that he was a god. I thought he was a superhero. But his sound wasn't brand new to me because I had already heard this from Otis Redding. I had already heard this from you know, numerous amount of artists that I was studying. But it was that easy to fall in love with him because of that. You know what I mean? And I went on to work with him, and I went on to see him work in the studio live, and I went on to pick up bits and pieces of what he was doing. And he was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, I said that to say that's why it was so easy to fall in love with what he was doing. And at the time when I was coming up, a lot of people would call me the Puerto Rican R. Kelly. They would. That's what they would call me. You're like the Puerto Rican R. Kelly. You're like, you know, the Spanish soulful singer and shit like that. But it's not that I was the Puerto Rican R. Kelly. It's that I had already studied the same sounds as a kid. I was listening to the same type of music. I was following the same type of riffs and the same type of techniques. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I mean, not to say that I'm like him, because those are some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
By the way, let's take away all the nonsense, and let's take away all his demons, and let's take away all the shit that transpired and everything he's involved in. And again, I want to say in no shape, form, or fashion am I condoning anything he's involved in, because I got 5 daughters. Yes, I have 5 daughters, by the way. Yes. 5 daughters. Yes.
Wow.
I'm not condoning anything he's involved in. But the man was a genius.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson got accused of some terrible things himself, but we still admire and love his music. We refuse to let them have Michael.
Right.
I agree. You can't have Mike. You can have everybody else. I agree.
Yeah.
Even the man, you can have everybody. You can have them all. You can't have Michael. You can't have him. I don't believe you. Nah, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I love it, man. I love it.
I don't believe you.
We're just about out of time. You know, if anyone has a question they want to ask in the meantime, but, you know, while we're waiting for any questions to come in, I want to ask you about your new music. Tell us about what you got coming out and what can we expect?
Right about now, I got Shots Fired out there on rotation. It's a street record, of course, and that's what I was explaining to you, that's what the people want to hear from me. That's what people expect. I put out a few R&B joints, just regular R&B records that have to do with love, and people don't bite. But when I put out a record like Shots Fired, you know, I get 180,000 hits and views on YouTube, and they love it, and my Instagram goes crazy. So I try to stick to that formula. Shots Fired, good record, great concept. What else we have out there that's brand new? I have Then You Know Jazz. We got a few records out there, but this Friday I'm gonna drop a record featuring Fred the God. Shout out to Fred the God. Let's pray for him. Let's keep him in our prayers. He's fighting the coronavirus right now as we speak. Shout out to Fred, for real, for real. He's in my prayers. We're dropping a record called Revolution. Right? And I want to make it clear, this song is called Revolution, but I'm looking for a love revolution. I'm not condoning. I'm not calling for a violent revolution. They're trying to tell us that love don't exist no more. We're in a dark place. We're dealing with a lot of demons worldwide. A lot of people are dying. There's a lot of violence going on in my city. There's a lot of violence going on in Chicago. There's a lot of violence going on in LA. As a young kid, I made a lot of music and I contributed to a lot of bullshit in the game. A lot of kids are doing what I was doing when I was younger, except I survived and got away with it. Today, as an adult, today as an older individual, and understanding that I have a platform to voice my opinion, you know what I'm saying? To voice my growth. I'm trying to be different. I'm trying to give back. I'm trying to show these kids that we can be different. And through music and through sound, I believe we could do that. So the song is entitled Revolution. And I'm calling for a love revolution. Is all about positivity. Fred's verse is amazing. And, you know, we just saying, fuck being Republican, fuck being Democratic. We all human beings. Let's try to get along. Let's try to uplift each other. Let's try to make this world a better place with a love revolution. We don't always got to be violent. I'm for the bullshit. I'm for it. I'm a knucklehead by nature. I come from the projects. Yeah. I'm a Bronx nigga. I'm for the bullshit, but I understand my platform, and I want to be in a better place. I want to see a better place. I want to make a change. So that's what this song is about. Dope, man. Can't wait to hear that one. Revolution featuring Fred the God is coming to you. We got Shots Fired out there. We got Didn't You Know? We got Do You See? We got so many records out there right now, man. Go support. Go show your love. We out. Right? I have to make sure me and the team